A cracked vase can still hold water. From a distance, it looks perfect. But inside, the fractures run deep. That's how many people walk through life. Smiles on the surface, cracks beneath the glaze. And the cracks don't come from nowhere. They are carved slowly, quietly, by words, by silence, by pride. Sometimes it begins at school. The cruel joke passed around, where your name becomes the punchline. You laugh along because what else can you do? But inside, a crack forms. Sometimes it happens at work. Your effort unseen, your voice dismissed, your credit stolen. And once again, you're expected to smile. Sometimes it's in the neighborhood. The door that closes too quickly, the gathering you're never invited to, the invisible line that says, you don't belong here. And sometimes, the deepest cracks come from family, from relatives who say, I only care for you. But their care feels like control. They step into your personal life, dictating choices, masking pride as concern. And because they share your blood, you're told to endure it, to respect it, to stay silent, but it still hurts. Sometimes more than all the rest. Tell me, have you carried cracks like these? At school, at work, in your community, or even at home? Bullying is not always loud. Sometimes it wears a smile. Sometimes it hides behind silence. Sometimes it disguises itself as love. And the world says, maybe you're too sensitive. But your heart knows the wound is real. Before I share 4 powerful stories that might feel close to your own, let me pause here. If reflections like this resonate with you, I'd love to invite you to subscribe to A Story Behind Words. It's a space where we take the raw moments of life, the painful, the hopeful, the in-between, and turn them into stories that help us feel less alone. And maybe right now, before diving deeper, take just a few seconds to breathe. Relax your shoulders, slow down from the rush of the day. Give yourself permission to simply be here. Okay, now I want you to think back to when you were younger. Do you remember the sting of being laughed at? A classmate raises their hand. They say something clever at your expense. The room erupts in laughter. Everyone's entertained, except you. But you laugh too, don't you? Because not laughing would only make you feel odd or even worse. So you smile, you pretend, you swallow the ache. And maybe years have passed, but you still hear that echo, that laugh in the back of your mind. Tell me, do you still carry that echo in quiet moments? Do you still wonder why no one stepped in? That's how bullying often begins. Not with fists, but with words. Words that seem harmless to the crowd, but cut deep into the one who received them. Now let's fast forward to adulthood. Bullying doesn't end with graduation, it just changes clothes. Now it's the workplace. The project you carried alone, presented by someone else as their own. You stay quiet because to challenge them risks your reputation, your position, your already fragile peace. How many times have you had to choose between justice and survival, between speaking truth and staying safe? And each time you stayed quiet, a new crack formed, a reminder that silence can protect you. Yes, but silence can also suffocate you. And then there's the community. Sometimes it's not the one you grew up in. It's a new place, a different culture, a way of life unfamiliar to you. At first you try to belong. You smile, you listen, you bend your habits, your words, your manners, just to fit in. But slowly, the circle shows its edge. The warmth fades. The difference begins to matter. The neighborhood where everyone seems connected. Except you. The gathering down the street. You hear the music, see the cars. But your invitation never came. The door that shuts a little too quickly. The conversation that dies the moment you arrive. No words, no bruises, just an invisible line. A line that whispers, you don't belong here. Have you felt that? To be part of a place, but never of the place. To live among people, yet carry the weight of being an outsider. To wonder if you will ever belong to the rhythm of this unfamiliar life. And then there's the family, the people who say, "We just want what's best for you." But somehow their care feels like control. They step into choices that aren't theirs to make. Your relationships, your career, even your private thoughts. They claim the right to dictate, all while hiding behind the word love. And it's confusing, isn't it? Because love is supposed to protect. Family is supposed to shelter. But instead, it feels like you are never enough. Every decision questioned, every mistake magnified, every difference treated like rebellion. And when you try to resist, when you try to set a boundary, you are met with guilt. You don't appreciate us. You don't respect us. You've changed. Have you ever felt that sting? The wound of criticism from the very people who should have been your safe place? That wound cuts differently because it comes wrapped in affection, because it carries the weight of blood and history, because walking away doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like betrayal. And how can you protest without being called ungrateful? How can you explain to others that love can wound just as deeply as hate? These cracks, they're the hardest to explain, but they're real. So how do you live with cracks? How do you carry the weight of hidden battles without letting them consume you? One way is humility, not humiliation, but the quiet strength that refuses to mirror cruelty. When someone shouts, you don't need to shout back. When someone belittles, you don't need to shrink. Humility is not weakness. It's choosing not to let their pride set the rhythm of your soul. Another way is shrewdness. It's the balance of heart and mind. Choosing kindness without being naive, and wisdom without being cold. It means knowing when silence protects you and when truth must be spoken. It means walking away not in defeat, but in freedom. Then there is forgiveness, not forgetting, not excusing, but releasing. Forgiveness is like setting down a heavy stone you were never meant to carry forever. And here's something to remember. People who try to put you down are often standing on shaky ground themselves. Their pride is fragile. Their cruelty is a cover. They may speak with bitterness because bitterness is all they know. Sometimes their words come not from strength, but from their own wounds. A wound they don't want to feel alone. So they throw the pain outward, hoping others will suffer with them. Does that make what they did right? Certainly not. Does it excuse the wound they left in you? Never. But remembering this can help you carry it differently. Their words are not truth. Their pride is not proof of your worth. It's only a mirror of their own emptiness. Another principle to hold on to: a gentle response can dissolve wrath. Not every battle needs your fire. Sometimes restraint speaks louder than retaliation, because dignity is not in the insult, but in how you choose to respond. And here's a final strategy. Don't let their story become yours, the cracks they carved into you. Do not have to define the vessel you are. Yes, the pain is real. Yes, the memories cut deep, but you still hold water. You still carry life. So when their pride seeks fuel, do not feed it. When silence feels like chains, choose freedom, whether in words or in release. Your worth is not defined by whispers. Your dignity is not erased by their pride. The cracks in you are not the end. They are proof you carried water, through fire, through cruelty, through nights you thought you would not survive. And one day, the smile you wear will no longer be a mask. It will be real. It will be healed, because wounds behind smiles can close, and scars can become stories. Stories that light the way for someone else still hiding their cracks.